Andrew, big news.
Okay, what I feel like I know what it is, but go
You
ahead.
already know what it is. I was telling you about it already via text and also on the phone and also right before we started recording.
I
But
will still
we're
act completely
excited.
surprised.
Yeah, act surprised for the listeners. Okay. The big news is that date number 2, who we all remember from last week, the huge season 2 premiere of Receipts, date number 2, the guy with the nice kitchen, we have now been on 4 dates.
The nice kitchen.
The nice kitchen guy.
Translate over an audio file. Yeah.
Yeah, the guy whose kitchen we could not stop raving about. That
Yes.
guy. I have
Yeah.
now seen his kitchen in person.
And wait,
it is a nice kitchen.
What were the dates exactly?
What were the dates?
Yeah. What did you do?
Okay, so the first, I'm counting our 10-minute Zoom date for the podcast as a date.
Okay.
I mean,
I don't know if most cultures really would, but
okay. Many people probably wouldn't, but personally for me, I am going to count it as a date.
Okay.
So that was number 1. I know it was only 10 minutes. I know it was recorded for public consumption, but to me, it was a good date, so it's a date. And then I asked him to do another virtual date. So we did a FaceTime for like an hour. That was cute.
So you went from Zoom to FaceTime.
Yes, I went from Zoom to FaceTime.
Did you find like any like technical differences and like the vibe is?
Well, the vibe was more casual over FaceTime because it didn't feel in any way like a work meeting. So that's good. There was less of his arms in the FaceTime, which is kind of a con.
Oh,
kind
okay.
of a con. We got a lot of arm. Again, the podcast is an audio and not visual medium, but we got a lot of arm.
Yeah, just imagine like a giant arm in a really
like
nice
hot
kitchen.
Arm, which I'm an arms and hands person. Some
Absolutely.
people are feet people. I'm an arms and hands person. I don't know. Okay. So missed getting a nice shot of a good arm. And then we went outdoor drinks. We had 3 of them.
Wow.
I know.
3 of what?
So we were at one bar that was outside and then they kicked us out because we went during the day. Because my preference right now for outdoor dining and outdoor drinking and outdoor dates, this is my recommendation to anyone listening, go during the day because you're not freezing fucking cold.
Oh yeah.
Because there's the sun. Yeah, right? And you have to leave because you're like, I'm going to lose a toe. And I don't want to lose a toe for a date.
Oh, wait, I do want to, you can continue. Our guest did just choke while you were telling that story. I don't know if it was prompted by...
It was disgusting or because you were laughing?
It was both kind of, but I just like spilled coffee all over him.
Oh, no.
Oh, okay. No.
Okay.
You guys continue. I'm just going to clean up. Yeah.
We'll cover for you.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay, so we had 3 drinks. The first one was at a bar that was like it was the brunch time.
Yes.
So they kicked us out when they had to switch over for dinner. So we had 2 drinks there and I had, I think 2 margaritas.
Wow.
No, I had 2 drinks with mezcal, which is very fun and flirty date drink.
Absolutely.
For me. And then we went over to just another bar with outdoor seating just down the street. And again, one that's not like actually the inside, but on the street, like it was open, like there's airflow, there are heaters, but we're not like on top of people, which is the only way that I feel comfortable doing outdoor anything right now. I had a glass of wine and he had a beer.
Oh, very nice. Gendered. Yeah.
Very gendered. Well, it's also like I'm drinking margaritas and he's drinking old fashions. That's like,
wow. Yeah.
Wow. What a straight fucking couple.
Oh, wait. So like, how much did you talk about this podcast that we're on right now? Is that the topic of conversation or no?
We did talk about it a little bit. And I did find out. So on our 4th date, which was a dinner now, but outdoor dinner, close to his apartment so that he could invite me over to his apartment, which I knew that was what was coming. Sure. And we got COVID tests beforehand. So it's like very deliberate when we're like, I'm getting a COVID test. Because that means
wait, you got the COVID test separately, I would imagine.
Yeah, we didn't go together.
Okay, that would have been cute.
It would have been cute little date. But no, we got separate COVID tests so that we could kiss.
Right.
That's the
reason. You did.
And we did.
Wow.
Yeah.
Inside.
Yes.
Wow.
In his apartment. Wow.
Oh.
It was fun. But yeah, and wild that literally our first date was recorded for the podcast.
That is fun.
It is fun. It's really cute. So we talked about it a little bit because he's now heard the podcast. So he heard my other dates and he was a little bit like, well, I know it wasn't a competition, but guess, I won. I'm like,
Right.
yeah, I guess in
an
some
inside
ways
kiss really solidifies that.
it really does. So I guess in some ways, yes, I was the Bachelorette and he won. And Neil Lane's going to be like, here's the diamond. And then we're like, okay, well.
Speaking of, I
Yes.
am very deep into, I've never watched a season of The Bachelor or Bachelorette.
Mhm.
I'm very deep into this season.
Oh my
The
God, I'm
episodes
proud.
that are provided to us at the moment. But yeah, I was really curious your thoughts on the season thus far.
Well, I think the women are going wild because Matt is letting it happen. Matt has never been on The Bachelor, The Bachelorette before. So Matt, usually the person who is the Bachelor or the Bachelorette has experienced what their suitors are going through. Like they know what it's like to be waiting for your one-on-one. They know what it's like to want time at a group date. Like they
Right.
understand that. And because they know that, they're empathetic to it, but also they don't deal with any bullshit. And I think because Matt isn't aware, there's a lot of bullshit happening. And he's just like okay with it. Like he's allowing this drama to happen. He's like giving way too much attention and extra time to a girl who like shouldn't be getting that because it really is taking away from the experience for everyone else. And he just
Right.
doesn't know. He just doesn't know because he's never been in their shoes.
That's fair. Yeah.
That's my
Yeah.
thinking. How are you feeling?
I'm thinking, well, I mean, like, obviously the first episode really did cause me a lot of stress. It's
Okay.
the first time that I've ever like watched anything that really caused that amount of stress
Okay.
onto my visceral body. Yes.
Why? Because of the first meetings?
Just
Like to get out of the
the
limo?
premise. I'm just
Okay.
like, okay, you think after like a maybe like fifth girl shows up, okay, we're really nearing the end, but that's not even
No.
nearing half of them.
No, there's
Uh,
30.
which is an insane premise. I think I didn't realize there was that many. Also, I hate, even still, I feel like there's still like a bunch of girls left, and when he's looking at the living room of all of them, I'm like, this is too much. I'm over it. It's like, this is too much, right?
I mean, it's a lot. He has more contestants than usual, even, but that is kind of the basic premise of The Bachelor and The Bachelorette
And
series.
then the new girl
He
showed
thinks
up.
a lot of people at the same time. That's what they do.
And it's just like so insane. Like they're all just willingly fighting over this guy and crying over this guy.
Yes, they're crying
That
over this
makes me
guy.
I'm like, okay, stop.
They're shedding tears. They're getting into each other's faces. Yes,
Yeah.
they're putting on their false eyelashes and their crop tops,
It's
and they're
just
getting into it.
I think, obviously not a female identifying person, but I feel as though it's setting back the feminist movement a couple hundred years,
Sure,
right?
sure, yes, but there's also The Bachelorette, where it's a bunch of men fighting for a woman.
Is
But
it
what would make it all better? Obviously, it is extremely backwards as a show in terms of like the diversity in their casting, in terms of like, I think they've fucked up every single, like, when there was a Me Too moment on the show, fucked it up. When we had to talk about Black Lives Matter on the show, they did an okay job with Tayshia, but like we've kind of didn't really talk about it with Matt. It came up and he really didn't want to get into it.
right?
Like they have the opportunity because they go to so many homes across America to make a difference in terms of being progressive, and they really aren't. And obviously, it's very not progressive at all that it's like only straight dating. Like we should be having
Well,
like a
yeah.
queer bachelor or bachelorette.
What was that though? What was that called? Are You
There
the
was
One?
one on Logo. Well, there was a gay bachelor on I think Logo like
Uh-huh.
a million years ago, and then Are You the One? Yes, where like everyone is kind of
It was like a little bit more fluid. Yes.
fluid all over all over the spectrum.
Mhm.
So that exists, but there needs to be like the version, like the romantic, like stereotype show. Like I want to see like the queer dating show that also involves the roses and the gowns and the fancy dates and the travel, which Are You the
Right.
One doesn't really have. It was like kind of messier.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just, it takes me out. I am just seeing him go on these very elaborate dates. One thing I will say, and this will be the last thing,
Okay.
is that when he inevitably gets in a relationship with any one of these girls, the dates will not be produced by an entire
No,
production company. And
no.
so it's
And
like,
they
yeah,
don't necessarily live in the same state either. Like a lot, they're all from all over. So they never talk about the logistics of like who's moving to whose state.
no, I
And
want to
like
see
they
that.
have jobs like dental assistant. And like maybe they'll become influencer
Mhm.
post The Bachelor, but some of them will keep their jobs.
Well, isn't Victoria's like actual job title queen,
That,
right?
that's just for the show. She must do something for money.
Well, she's an actress. She is a plant on that
Yeah.
series. There's
Yeah.
no way she's real.
She's not being paid to be a queen. She's not the queen of any country.
Yeah.
She's just not.
Yeah.
But I actually think that's a really good segue even to our guest who in my mind is a queen. She's amazing. She's hilarious. She's a writer. She's a comedian. She has a web series coming out on Rizzle ASAP. Please welcome Abby Govindan.
Hello, Jenny and Andrew. Thank you guys so much for having me. It was so interesting to hear you guys talk about The Bachelor because I have thoughts on that show for sure.
Yeah.
In that I don't watch it, but I do agree that it sets the feminist movement back by numerous years. I always say that if I were a girl on The Bachelor, I would get everyone to unionize. And I think I've said this on more than one podcast even. Like I would just get everyone together and be like, look, they are depending on us fighting for quality television. So what we're going to do is we're going to be very civil. We're going to be very happy for each other. When he like eliminates any of us, we're going to hug each other. When he chooses any of us, we're going to congratulate each other. Anytime they have us do talking heads, we're going to be like, oh, I really want to date him, but she's so amazing and she's so amazing. And like any one of us would be winners. And like, you know, the real Bachelor is the friends we made along the way, you know? So I really hope, Indian Matchmaking, have you guys heard of that show? Is casting for season 2. And I really wanted to apply as a bit. Like, I just really wanted to go there and just like fuck with them to the max. My manager was like, no, you can't do that. I'm not letting you do that. I was really sad about it for 2 weeks. But
I mean, it would definitely bring you press and publicity if you were a contestant on the show, even for a bit.
Yeah, so what my manager said is that first of all, they have editing power. Well, because like, okay, so have you guys seen Indian Matchmaking or have you only heard of it? You've seen it?
I watched it. Mm-hmm.
So I couldn't even watch it, but like, it's about arranged marriages, and arranged marriages, the act itself isn't problematic, but everything that goes into it is very problematic. Like, and in that show, they were just openly talking about it. They were like, oh, we want someone who's upper caste, which, if you guys don't know what caste is, that's totally fine. Most people don't, but caste functions in India similar to how race functions in America, in that like you're born into a caste and you don't really have a say, and like how you're treated in society and what institutional opportunities you have really depend on caste. And so the practice of arranged marriage usually is to maintain like intercaste relations, like upper caste people marry other upper caste people. And then like skin color, like, you know, some of them were like, oh, we would never want to marry a dark skinned person. And I was like, you're saying this out loud to the cameras? Like, it's just so, it's so terrible. And so, yeah, on Netflix. So, yeah. And I wanted to go on and just like show them all how stupid they sounded. But my manager was like, no, they have editing power. So like, if you go on to fuck with them, they're going to make you look like the bitch. And I was like,
yeah.
Well, I don't even think that like people like that would even make it through like the first round of auditions, because they're looking for like deranged people, like, right? In a sense.
Yeah, but the thing is, yeah, they have control of the narrative.
Yeah.
You know?
For sure. And yeah, I think it's the same issue on The Bachelor and The Bachelorette too. Like they decide, like if you're gonna play the game and you're gonna be fun and cause drama, they will give you, you know, the edit. They'll keep you on longer.
Screen time.
Yeah, they'll give you more screen time. Like I love your unionizing plan. Obsessed, but I don't know if the producers would let.
Well, I guess the tactic then is to just act batshit crazy until you actually start filming, and then you calm down.
And then when the cameras are on, you're like, no, I love everybody.
Yeah, I'm just here to have fun. Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
Here for friends. Actually, I came for friends, actually. The thing is, they do become close friends.
I hope so.
They do become close friends. A lot of them. Some of them I do think become enemies forever, which is unfortunate, but some of them become friends. So yeah. I thought about going on The Bachelor, to be honest. So
What's
really?
Yeah.
You should go. I think you would do really well because you watch the show a lot, right?
I
But
love
the thing
the
is, like,
show.
I just like, I don't compete with women for attention. Like, it's definitely happened before where me and a girl are interested in the same guy. And I was just kind of like, you can have him. Like, anyone who makes me want to compete for his attention is not anyone I want anyways. And I just feel like if I were like talking to a guy and then a girl came up and was like, can I steal him for a second? And he were like, yeah, I'd be like, okay, bye. Like, you leave. You're not coming back, you know? But that's not the kind of self-respecting women they're looking for. They're looking for women who will be like,
that will shake in their boots at every single rose ceremony. It's like, oh my God, like insane. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, yeah, they want the women who are going to play along with the rules of the show, you know? Because you're 100% right. In real life, if I was on a date with someone and a woman came up and was like, oh, can I actually talk to him? No.
No, you can't. I'd like to see you try.
We're having a date. We're having a nice time and we're having a date.
Yeah. Well, I always say that I love when women hit on a guy that I'm dating because it's a win-win for me. Like either he is not interested in you as he should be, and like I just love when pretty girls hit on a guy I'm dating because it's like the ultimate cosign. So like it's a win in that if a pretty girl hits on a guy I'm dating, it's a cosign from her. But then if he leaves me for her, then it's a win for me because like that would have happened eventually anyways. So the sooner the better, you know. That's always been my philosophy with dating. I've been cheated on twice, so I'm a very casual dater, you know. I'm just kind of like if they're gonna cheat, it's gonna happen. Like there's really nothing I can do to prevent it. So I'm like not a jealous person. That's been a point of contingency in a lot of my relationships. Like I remember my last two boyfriends were like, oh, you don't get jealous? Like, do you not care about me? And I was like, where the fuck are you getting this from? Like, if anything, it proves that I really care about you. Like you can do whatever the fuck you want. I don't care. You know, just don't cheat on me. Yeah.
Right. Like just don't break my heart and be horrible to me. But like, have girlfriends. I'm
exactly.
obsessed with you hanging out with women. Do that.
Yeah. Well, I always say that like guys having female friends is the ultimate cosign because it means that women can stand to be around him. Like I've definitely dated guys who didn't have any female friends, and now I know, like retrospectively, I know that that's just like the ultimate red flag. You know?
I think, I 100% agree, and I also really like if I prefer the person I'm dating not to have roommates, but if they do have roommates, I prefer that it's a woman. Because I think yes, I'm like, that's a good sign. That means like,
that's true.
She likes him as a friend. It also probably means their apartment is nicer than if it's only guys living there. Like, I 100% agree. It's important that men have female friends. And also, I don't know, I think men and women can be friends without having
100%
sexual tension. I believe
100%. I mean, like, yeah, definitely. I mean, like, I think in middle school, I was like, oh no, girls and guys can't be friends. But then like there like queer people exist. You know, I feel like queer people are the ultimate example of the fact that women and men can be friends. So if they can be friends, like everyone can, I don't know. It's just like, I hate this idea that like you have to be sexually attracted to anyone that you're like of the gender that you're attracted to, you know. I definitely have a lot of male friends who I was like, we could be the last two people on earth. And I'd be like, no. But I still enjoy spending time with you, you know. And then there's that whole thing of like every guy friend you have secretly wants to hook up with you. But I definitely have male friends who, like, if we were the last two people on earth, I'd be like, okay, should we get together? And they'd be like, no. We're not doing that shit right now. I have known you for 13 years.
All right. It's just not in the cards for us, baby. Wow. Okay, so you're a casual dater. Are you a casual dater right now? What is happening?
I am typically a casual dater in that I like kind of like I play my little mini game of the Bachelorette, except none of the guys know, you know what I'm talking about? Like,
okay.
I usually date multiple guys and then like slowly weed them out until I find one that I like. During COVID times, I was less of a, like, I wasn't ever seeing multiple people. I was very careful about like meeting up with guys. So I broke up with my last serious boyfriend January of 2020, and then in 2020, I saw about 6 guys over the span of like 11 months, and they all sucked. But for most of them, we social distance dated for 2 weeks and then like screened for symptoms, and then we got tested, and then we broke social distancing. The last guy that I dated in 2020 got me too'd by 15 women, and I was like, this is it. This is it. This is it for me. This is not meant to happen. And look, he wasn't even the worst of them. Like, one of them turned out to be racist. Like, another one just like talked to me like I was a fleshlight. I was like, dude, like, I know I'm not your girlfriend, but you can't treat me like an object.
No.
So I was just like not having a good 2020.
So 3 out of the 6 are like total horror shows.
I would say 6 out of the 6. I would go ahead and say 6 out of the 6.
Oh no. Where did you find
and I was like, this, oh, sorry. So one of them my friend set me up with, and then the other like 5 I met on dating apps.
Are you still friends with that friend?
Yeah. What happened to that friend?
She's my best friend is the problem. So she went to high school with this kid, and she was like, hey, so this guy I went to high school is just like a huge fan of you as a comedian and like wants to take you out. And then he ended up being racist. And I was like, girl, what the fuck? And she was so like, every time I see her, and like this happened like 8 months ago, but every time I see her, she's like, I'm so sorry for that. I'm like, so sorry I put you through that. And I was like, you know what? It's fine. Because I do have a no white boys policy, but I did lift that policy very temporarily for 2 boys this year, and I immediately regretted it. Like, I was like, why did I do this?
Okay. I mean,
Yeah,
it was pandemic, so we were kind of looking. There were slim pickings. We were just trying to find some companionship during this horrible time. So
yeah, exactly. So me too. Right, this guy that I was seeing, he was like a very prominent like film director, despite being my age. So he's 23, like very like accomplished, won a student Oscar, which is like the most impressive. I mean, like, it's like literally the Oscars for college students, and worked with Olivia Wilde and all these things. And then he got me too'd by like 15 women, and I was like, I had whiplash. I was like, oh, this is not happening for me this year. Like, I am not meant to find someone I'm supposed to be with. At the last minute, I matched with this guy on Hinge, Indian guy. I like, anyone who has followed me for any amount of time on social media will know that like I've like, my running joke is like no white boys, but like an overarching theme is I've always wanted to date an Indian guy just because I've wanted that cultural overlap. But most of the ones that I tried to date just didn't work out. Like, this guy who got me too'd by 15 women was an Indian guy, you know? So I was like, maybe it's not happening for me this year. But as a Hail Mary, like, I matched with this really, really sweet Indian guy. He's a middle school teacher, which is really cool. And like,
that's nice.
Really nice. And we hit it off really well. And that was 2 months ago. And I'm currently talking to you from his apartment.
Okay.
He is the only one that I am seeing. Left the days of casual dating behind me. But it's like, so he and I are exclusive by virtue of the fact that it's COVID, and I'm not going to be dangerous about it. But I did tell him that like, if I had met him in non-COVID times, I would also not want to see anyone else. Like, I do want to like objectively see where this goes. And like, we're not officially boyfriend girlfriend yet, because my last boyfriend was like very controlling. And he was very cool until we put the boyfriend girlfriend label on it, and he was very controlling. So that's kind of what I told this guy. I was like, hey, just want to test the waters. Like, let's do this for 3 months and see if like this is something we want to do. So I like call him my boyfriend in passing just because it's easier to explain than all of that. But technically I'm single, but I like, if someone else asked me out on a date, I'd be like, no, sorry, I'm seeing someone. So it was good. I mean, like, I guess 2020 wasn't a complete bust. Like, I really was about to not go on that date because I was like, yo, you have the worst luck with men. Like, there's no reason to believe.
Yeah. The fact that you still had hope after 6 heinous dates.
Yeah. Terrible men. Well, can I tell you what changed my mind?
Yeah.
Can I tell you? So it might not be relatable to you guys, right? But I have a cat named Anjali, which is an Indian name, when I adopted her 2 years ago. And so I was talking to this guy, and I was sending him pictures of my cat, and he was like, what's her name? And I said, Anjali. And he said, is there any significance to that name? And I said, it's actually the name of my favorite Indian song that I listened to growing up. And he was like, what a coincidence. That's also my favorite Indian song. And that's when I was about to cancel, like, straight up, I was about to cancel. And then I was like, maybe this cultural overlap thing is like a positive, you know? Yeah. And then we met up for dinner, and we had a lot of the same like favorite Indian movies. His favorite show was Nathan For You, which is like also my favorite show. And I was like, that's so, yeah. So here we are 2 months later. In
the apartment,
I'll let you guys know how this.
Loving it.
Yes. Yeah. So that is it. I know that was such a long answer to your question, but yeah.
No, but I love
casual dating now. Yeah.
No, I didn't want the spark notes. I wanted the full story.
Yeah, exactly.
And also I think it's very sweet because there is something to during COVID, it's really hard to casually date in the same way that we would have before the pandemic. It's like anytime that you're going to be alone in a room with someone, like inside, you're taking a risk. So like being exclusive with someone, I think happens so much earlier than it would usually. And it's very nice.
Yeah.
It's very nice to be like, I want to be exclusive with you for our safety, but also because actually I would want to be
Circumstance.
exclusive. Yeah, I would want to be exclusive with you otherwise too. Like,
Yeah,
also,
yeah,
I still would want
exactly.
to be exclusive. That's really nice. That's really nice.
Yeah, no, thank you. Yeah, I see it that way too. Because I mean, like earlier with the one who ended up being racist, like he said something really mean to me and I was crying and I was like, but I can't break up with him because I can't date other guys in quarantine. Like I've already broken social distance with him. And then I had snapped out of it. I was like, what the fuck am I saying? Like, you don't have to date this guy just because like it's quarantine. And so broke up with him the next day. It was the best thing I ever did. But yeah, like
Proud of you.
my decision to be exclusive here is purely like it happened sooner because of COVID, but it made me realize sooner than I would have if COVID were anything. Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying what you said, essentially.
Yeah, no, but it's like that's something that I'm finding too. And like if someone isn't willing to be exclusive with you, like because I've also had prior to the person that I'm seeing right now, like I was kind of trying to just meet someone and like ran into an issue where I was like, well, we've hooked up now and I think we should just hook up with each other. And then he kind of was like, no, I'm seeing other people.
Right.
And it was like, okay, that
No.
really, yes. And it's a little bit like, oh, we have really different ideas of like what is safe and responsible
Values.
right now.
Absolutely.
Yeah, our values are so different. So I don't know. I just think that's very interesting.
God bless pandemic. Yeah.
God bless
Yeah.
them. But it's telling me that like this person who I was interested in is a fuckboy. And I really know that because he's like, absolutely, I'll spread a virus.
Right.
For
Yeah, because if they're willing to spread a
Absolutely, I
virus, then
will.
they're willing to cross a lot of other red
Yeah,
flags as well.
exactly. Well, so one of my followers actually DM'd me and she was like, hey, I really like this guy, but I found out he was dating multiple women. What should I do? And I said like, oh, and you know, in any other circumstance, I'd be like, hey, like if this is how you feel, if you guys don't have a label, technically he doesn't owe you anything. So like you should tell him how you feel, and then see if he wants to be exclusive. But in this case, I was like, you have to end things with him immediately because like the problem isn't seeing other people. The problem is honesty. Like if you're seeing other people, you should absolutely be honest about it. And so that was my like part of the reason I didn't want to see multiple people is because of the virus. But if I were to do that, I would have an obligation to tell all of them that, right?
Yes.
And that was a conversation I did not want to have. Like
Right.
if the ethics of it didn't deter me, then the like having the conversations of it should have. And so the fact that there's so many people right now, I've heard so many horror stories of girls who were like, oh, I found out that a guy that I was seeing like 6 other people. And I was like, I would literally have a heart attack. Like that,
It's
you know?
scary. It's like you guys have to do contact tracing now. You have to be like,
Mhm.
who did you see and when? Reach out to all of them about like,
Yeah.
because it's
Yeah,
really
exactly.
a liability. So
Yeah.
yeah, you were right to tell your follower, end it.
She did. I'm very happy for her. Yeah.
I'm happy for her too.
Yeah. I love telling girls to dump men. It's a passion of mine. Yeah.
You know, some might say hobby, some might say
Full-time career.
Yeah, career. Who knows?
Yeah. But speaking of guys that I dated in 2020, I do have some very interesting receipts that I think you will very much enjoy. I'm pulling one up right now. So I dated this guy for 6 months. And I mean, like a lot went wrong in the relationship. A lot of it was my fault for sure. I'm not like putting the blame mostly on him. I don't think that's a very adult thing to do. But something that I realized like months after I got out of the relationship was that he was very like controlling in a way that like, but in a very unique way, like in a way that I didn't even see it when I was in the relationship, you know, like he would ask, like he was reading through my text messages. Like I remember a few times when I told him I'd sleep over at his place at the last minute, I was like, oh, hey, like I want to take some space tonight instead. Or like, oh, hey, my parents aren't letting me come. And it was like a full on like fight and he was really upset. And my favorite story to tell people is I was a surrogate for, I don't know if surrogate's the right word. I was like an influencer for Julian Castro's 2020 presidential campaign. And so when his campaign was in Houston, in 2019, they asked if I'd like to come meet Julian. And so my boyfriend at the time and I went, and the three of us took a picture with Julian. And then I was like, hey, would it be okay if just I took a picture with Julian? Because who knows how long this guy will be around, but like, like my support for Julian hopefully will be forever. Like he hasn't done anything terrible yet. Hopefully never. He's a great guy.
Yeah,
but
I'm hoping we don't have to cancel him.
He's great. Definitely probably one of the most, if not the most progressive politicians in the Democratic Party right now. And so, and then when I asked for a picture with just Julian, my boyfriend blew up. He was so angry, so upset. He was like, if you wanted me out of the picture, you should have just said so. Like, this is so manipulative of you, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, do you think I'm going to cheat on you with 2020 presidential candidate Julian Castro? Like, is that what you think is going to happen? Or like I tweeted that like Josh, the new Asian host of Blue's Clues is really cute.
Okay.
And
I haven't seen him, but I will look him up right after.
He's very have you seen him, Andrew?
No, I'm gonna look him up right now. Okay. I need to
know. Yeah, he's very attractive, and he's very young, very like fit, very cute. And so I tweeted that I thought he was cute, and then my boyfriend later that day was like, that was really inappropriate of you to tweet. And I was like, what? Like, everyone has celebrity crushes, right? Even you. And he was like, yeah, but you're a stand-up comedian. Like, if you make it, you might meet him one day, and then how do I know you won't cheat on me with him? And I was like,
oh my God.
What?
He is very, very cute. I love
Oh, good. He's really cute.
Him and Blue. They're so cute.
Yes, exactly. He's married. Unfortunately, he's married because, you know, after we broke up, I was like, maybe I will DM Josh on Instagram.
Oh my God.
But he's
gonna
married.
Yeah.
He's very married, unfortunately.
Okay.
They really fuck up his hair on the show. His natural hair is so much nicer than what they like make it like flat. Do you see this? Right?
Oh, no.
And there's no texture to it. Yeah. He's like so much hotter. Here, I'm so sorry.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's man. Honestly, we're in trouble. All of these kids are gonna have their sexual awakening watching
way too early. Yeah, well, the thing is, like, Steve's an attractive man for sure, but Steve wasn't so attractive that 4-year-old me was questioning like if bisexuality. You know, I saw Steve and I thought of like a preschool teacher. I was like, there's my friend Steve, you know. But I feel like if Josh were on screen when I was 4, I'd be like, oh, I guess I am attracted to men. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The guy who replaced like Steve, like I want to say like in 2004. What was his name?
I know who you're talking about. The cousin.
Yeah, he was okay. He was attractive.
He was built. He was muscular.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not keeping on top of the House of Blue's Clues.
Come on, you gotta get on this.
Yeah.
You should, honestly. That's where the hot guys go, it turns out. They're hanging out with Blue. They're getting
ever since Steve went to college, it's been hottie after hottie. Yeah.
Yeah, truly. Is he still at college? I hope he's doing well at college. Good for him.
Still canonically in college. Yeah.
Yeah. But so anyway, this ex-boyfriend is the receipt that I was going to pull up for this podcast.
Okay.
So I showed it to you, right? So there's a lot that goes into this relationship. I won't really get you into the details of it, but one thing that he took it upon himself to do bizarrely was like to diagnose me with a slew of mental illnesses that I didn't have. And like, he was just like, you're just so crazy. And like, I'm the only one who, and I was like, yes, you're so right. I'm broken, whatever the fuck. Right. So he told me that I had like OCD, ADHD. What else did he say? He said something else.
This man is not a doctor.
Not even kind of. Oh no, he's very unemployed, by the way.
Okay.
And yeah, and then it all culminated into borderline personality disorder. He was like, you are just like so constantly needing validation, like you're so overly sexual, like you're always looking for whatever. He was like, you have borderline personality disorder, and it destroyed me literally, right? So after he broke up with me, I mean, I'm better now for sure.
Yeah, this man is like textbook gaslighter. Like this is this is the gaslighter supreme. I'm sorry.
He should get an award for it, honestly.
Yeah, he should get the Oscar for gaslighting.
The Oscar for gaslighting. Yeah, but the reason I bring this up is because so in the aftermath of our breakup, like after he broke up with me, I would send him all these texts and I'd be like, you're the person I'm meant to be with, like you're the only one who's willing to like see, like, you know, put up with all my craziness. And then I went on like 2 dates with someone else and I like snapped out of a trance. I was like, I'm not toxic, I'm not unlovable, I am fucking sexy as shit, I'm really good at first dates, guys love to date me, like this is ridiculous, right? So I started distancing myself from him, and then he did a complete 180. Like after we broke up, he was like, you're broken, you're so lucky I even dated you for this long. Then after we broke up, he reached out to me and he was like, hey, I'm in need of a friend, I'm in need of emotional support. And I was just trying to be nice, you know. So that's the context of this text message. Okay. So he texted me. I just told him that I had gotten a TED talk, right? And so he texted me and he said, when is the talk? This month, right? Also, did you start tutoring? Because I just started a tutoring job. And then he asked, also, are you still opposed to platonic cuddling? Asking for me. And I responded, 2 weeks ago, LOL. 2 weeks from now, LOL, because yes, when is the TED talk? And I said, also, I haven't started tutoring yet. They want me to retest. They wanted me to take the ACT again. And that's the whole thing I have to deal with, right? And then he responded, that's plenty of time. I don't think that counts as procrastinating yet. And also, and then okay, sorry. I've lost track. Anyway, and then I responded, I am opposed to platonic cuddling. I think it's just best for us to be friends with no complications or chances of us falling back into old habits.
Yes.
And then he responded and he said, yeah, thank you. And then he responded and he said, I don't think it will change your answer, but I am, for the record, also opposed to old habits. Anyway, do you have any friends that could use a platonic cuddle buddy? Question mark, LOL. The LOL really seals it, I think.
Yeah,
you're cringing, LOL. Right?
It's a LOL that's like, I'm kind of kidding, but I'm not. I'm being cute about this, right? I'm cute.
I like, what does he expect? Like you to like pimp out like one of your friends that is like just casually mentioned like, hey, yeah, I would love someone to platonically like cuddle with. Just insane.
Especially your ex. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And then
you would
and then
like, oh, sorry. Yeah, you go. Tell us.
No. Continue.
No, I was just gonna say, like, what makes him think that you would be like, yeah, babe, go hang out with my ex who ruined my fucking life and cuddle him. My ex is looking for a big spoon, and you know what?
Yeah.
This is
He's paying $30 an hour, you know, you really got to get on it. Like if you do it full time, there's a 401k, there's a retirement, there's benefits. Like, I really suggest it. And then after all this, would you be willing to help me decipher a text conversation with a woman I met off an app? You can definitely say no to that. And I responded, I don't think I'm there yet, unfortunately. And he said, okay, no worries. Sorry, Abs. And here's the thing. So here's the thing is I didn't say, I don't think I'm there yet, unfortunately, because I was bothered with him dating other women. In fact, I was very excited that he was not my problem anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was like, oh, great. Like, you're someone else's problem now. I just didn't want him to think that we had that repertoire of like, where he could be like, hey, I have a problem with a girl. And I do have repertoires like that with some of my exes. Like I have so many friends that I've dated and it didn't work out. And I was like, we can just be friends. It'll be fine. Like I always say that people I've dated and hooked up with are definitely going to be at my wedding because like, to me, like romance is so like fluid in terms of like you either have it or you don't. But he's not one of those people that I want to be friends with. You know? Like he was like once he was out of my life. Yeah, he's 100%
he's not invited to the wedding.
So that's what when I said I don't think I'm there yet, unfortunately, I didn't mean like I'm uncomfortable with the idea of you dating other women. I was like, I don't want to be friends with you. I don't want to be like associated with you. Like I don't want like, any of this bullshit.
Don't ask me for girl advice because I don't want to talk to you.
Like like my girl advice would be to tell the girl to run. You know? And oh man, it's so great. And like, you know, we always tell men to go to therapy. Like we're like, men, go to therapy. But like I've met so many men who go to therapy and then they weaponize like therapeutic language to get what they want out of situations, you know, like he was telling me that his therapist like he told his therapist like, oh, I think my girlfriend has borderline personality disorder. And then his therapist was like, yeah, sounds like it. And I was like, how the fuck would your therapist know? She's never met me. She's only heard what you've told her about me. You know, it's like, yeah. Anyway, so that's the receipt that I present to you guys. So please feel free to tell me what you think.
I'm very impressed with the boundaries that you were setting in the
Thank
entire
you.
text thread. Really beautiful use of boundaries. And it's just unbelievable to me, the gall of this guy.
Yeah.
Like, what did he possibly think? You were going to be like, yeah, I'm coming over. We're going to cuddle. I'm going to give you girl advice. Like, we're chill. Like, when you literally had a fight at a political event, like in front, like,
Yeah.
like, why does he think that you are in a place in your relationship where it shows no self-awareness?
None. And that's the
None.
thing. And I don't know, like if that relationship taught me anything, it's that like controllingness does definitely come in different forms, because I dated a guy who's very controlling, like very like, you're only allowed to hang out with me, like you're not allowed to have any other friends. And this last boyfriend wasn't exactly like that, but he also wasn't not like that. Like he used just the right terminology. He was very progressive, like very like, you know, like I mean, like if you were to get into a conversation with him about politics, like you would see with him eye to eye. Like he very much thinks the right things, but also he thinks that he's the exception in a lot of ways. And I know that this is not an uncommon phenomenon in men. Like he was unemployed, and I remember like I was like really stressed about it because I was looking for work, and like I was also bearing a lot of the financial burden, and he was like struggling a lot in his life, and I tried to be understanding of that. But like every time I was like, hey, like, it's kind of difficult on me to take a lot of the financial burden in this. Would you be willing to like look for a job? Could you please look for a job? He was like, that sounds like a threat. And I was like,
Oh
what?
my God.
And then one day I was like, okay, if you're not going to look into getting work, will you please at least look into grad school? And he was like, I'm too smart for grad school. If anything, I'd be teaching them more than they could teach me. He was like convinced. He was like, yeah, like with my grades and with my expertise, I could definitely get into Stanford. Like he would just talk about Stanford, like it was just an easy program to get into. And I was like,
Wow.
oh man, he is intelligent. Like I'll
Yeah,
credit him what credit is due.
I mean, he
He's
does sound
intelligent.
smart, but like not in
But
many
to
ways.
like gloat about it, it's like
Yeah.
smart
Well,
people
but
don't really do that. Yeah.
yeah, but here's the thing is like I've met people smarter than him, and the thing is when you're intelligent, you don't, like, I don't know, the people who, my favorite type of people are the ones who are quietly intelligent, and also the ones who feel like they still have so much left to learn. Like I have so many friends who are doing grad programs at Stanford, but if you ask them if they were going to get into Stanford, they would not have said like, oh, I can so easily get into Stanford.
Right.
They were like, I would be so lucky to get in, like that's my dream program, like who's to say like what'll happen. I've never heard someone just be like, yeah, I'm going to get into Stanford. And so I was just kind of like, will you at least apply and just show me if that's possible? Because now I'm just curious if you're delusional or not. You know what I'm saying?
Just like prove it. I want to just see. Since you're definitely gonna get it, why don't you just apply?
Yeah, why don't you just show me? Yeah, exactly.
Why don't you just show me and then we'll see. And then
Yeah.
you can go, maybe. Or you can just teach them. Or you can go and you can become a professor. I don't know.
Yeah. That's why I was like, you could go and become a professor. Well, that's what I was like, oh, if you get your PhD, you can become a professor. Well, so like at the tail end of our relationship, right when I got out, just like the text said, he asked, do you start tutoring? I'd started a tutoring job that paid about 25 to 40 an hour. Like I hadn't negotiated salary at that point. I ended up not starting because of COVID, but starting salary was about 25 an hour. You can negotiate it up to 40 depending on what your ACT score was and what your expertise was, right? And so I knew he was having trouble finding work, and I knew that he had a really high ACT score from high school. So I was like, hey, do you like, if you want to apply, like I'd be happy to like tell them that I know for a fact that you're smart.
You're
and
so
he was
nice,
like,
Abby. Abby,
thank you.
So nice.
Thank you. I was really trying to help.
You're really nice.
And he was like, no, my labor is worth way more than like $25 an hour. He was like, I could go to any of these like Houston kids and charge them $100 an hour for my expertise. And I was like, who the fuck is gonna pay you $100 an hour for tutoring? And he was like, no, it's for comp sci. Like I could just be like, oh, $100 an hour. And at the end of like 4 hours, your kid will just be like fluent in JavaScript. And I was like, no, that's a good point. Like, JavaScript is a very valuable like technique, and people are willing to pay top dollar for it. $100 an hour is absolutely not what they're going to be willing to pay for it though. And like, see that he was just like,
I don't think the kids are really dying to learn JavaScript also.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know any teens that are like, I'm really dying to learn Java.
Yeah, yeah. And like, and you know, so for the longest time after we broke up, I like really hated myself. Like
Aw.
because like at the end of every relationship, I was always like, oh fuck that guy. But at the end of this one, I didn't know like why I hated myself. And then I watched Seduced, which is that
I haven't seen it.
documentary about NXIVM.
Oh,
And yeah, and in that India Oxenberg, which is she's like the type or like the person that they
this
interview.
is the Stars one, so not the
Yeah,
one.
the Stars one, not the HBO one. The HBO one, in fact, was funded by NXIVM and so cannot be trusted at all. But the
Okay.
Stars one is really profound and very good.
Okay.
And in that, India Oxenberg was like, you know, after I left this cult, like I viscerally hated myself because there were so many red flags. And instead of trusting my instinct and running for the hills, I like stayed, right? I pushed down those red flags and I stayed. And then I realized that's how I felt about this relationship. Like there were so many instances where I was like, is this wrong? But he had been in 3 long-term relationships and I had only been in one kind of like my longest relationship was 11 months. So I was like, maybe he's doing something right and I'm doing something wrong. And for the longest time, I was like, you know, he's not a bad person. He was just like accidentally hurtful to you. But then I remembered on our first date, he said something that I've always wanted to do is start a cult. And I was like, what? And he was like, yeah, I'm just really good at convincing people to like follow me. I'm really good at being charming and charismatic. And he's very charming and
He did
very
it.
charismatic. And then that's when I was like, everything he did was on purpose. Like, there's no such thing as a good cult. There's none,
No.
Well,
not a
it's
single example.
illegal. It's illegal to
Yeah,
have a cult first and foremost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, they're all like at their core, like eventually they become this like abuse of power and corruption and like exploitation. And so that should have been my first red flag. I should have been like, this guy wants to start a cult.
No.
See ya. But at the time I thought it was cute. I was like, aha, he wants to start a cult.
Right.
Like, no.
Be like UCB fun or whatever.
UCB is for sure a cult. Yeah, for
yeah,
sure.
UCB is called, actually. But okay. But you have to give yourself some grace there because you're learning with every relationship and it's hard. You learn over time, like, oh, this is a red flag and I'm not going to pull it out of the ground and throw it away. I'm going to look at it and then I'm going to turn around rather than it being like
yeah.
but it's
and
hard.
I mean like
It's
yeah,
hard
for sure.
to know
Oh
that.
yeah.
And especially
And
with someone who is smart and charming and manipulative enough to start the next NXIVM, you know.
Well, that's the thing. She was describing Keith Raniere, who's the founder of NXIVM, and I was like, "Oh, this sounds so familiar." She was like, "He's like charming. He's charismatic. He knows the right thing to say. He makes you trust him." And I was like, "Oh boy,
No.
oh my god,
Oh no, it
yeah,
dated him. Yeah,
truly." Yeah, very much suggests Seduced on Stars. It's very eye opening, even for because like the thing she says at the very end is she's like, you can't think. She's talking about cults. She was like, you can't think this will never happen to you because that's the moment that it's most likely to happen to you. And I just think that's so profound, not only about cults and bad relationships, but just about everything. Like you can't ever think you're immune to anything bad happening to you. Like you can't ever be like, oh, I'm too woke or I respect myself too much because like that's when it hits, you know? So you always have to be like super vigilant. Yeah, so that's that ex-boyfriend.
Oh
I have
my
one more
God.
receipt for you if you have the time.
Yeah, we want it for sure. Abby, it's been a wild year for the world, but I feel like it's been a wild year in your dating life too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. Season 23 of Abby Govindan was definitely not the best season. It was the most entertaining for sure, but for the protagonist, very much not.
Like a lot of ups and downs, a lot of twists, but like we're
A
really
lot of
putting the
twists,
protagonist
yeah.
through the ringer this season. We're really seeing how many conflicts can we have here.
Oh yeah, for sure. How many can we get away with giving this character? Yeah. So another story that I have is in right after I got out of a relationship 3 years ago in New York City, which is where I was in college. I went on a date with this guy who is a med student, very like charming, charismatic, attractive. Guess I have a type. And then at the end, and like he had 2 pet snakes that he just like pulled out, and I was obsessed. I love that.
You love the snakes?
That's good.
I love them. Yeah. And so I was obsessed.
Andrew, do you like the snake?
No, I'm totally with the snakes. I think that's really, it's unique. I don't know. I think it's fun.
Okay.
I just love reptiles. I think they get such a bad rap, but like these snakes were literally like slither puppies. Like they were so cute. And like they don't like, like reptiles don't know how to be affectionate, but like my human brain was like, oh, it just hissed at you. Like that's affection,
Love
and when it was all over my body and it was like wrapping around my neck, not choking me. It just like felt like affection.
Okay.
And I loved it. And then at the
Earlier
end,
you said this might not be relatable to you. That the last story that was relatable to me. This story is not relatable to me.
That's what everyone
Loving
tells
the
me.
snake. I understand falling in love with the same song in childhood and then wanting to date that person. I get that. The snakes, I don't know. I don't think I can get it.
That's so funny. Yeah, but so yeah, and then at the end, he like kissed me, and then I was like, sorry, I'm not in the mood, and I just like went home.
Mhm.
Well, I mean, like it wasn't that clear. Like we just had a whole conversation about it, and I was very much like, this isn't something I'm interested in. And then I was just very uncomfortable with like how much he pushed me towards it, even though I verbally said like I'm not interested in this. So he like texted me, and he was like, it's like a very like I don't even remember it. This was like 3 years ago, but he was like, it's very like problematic of you to lead me on. Like I really enjoyed blah blah blah. And then so I responded, and I was like, hey, like I told you I didn't want to do anything with you. I don't appreciate you pushing me to my limit. Like I just really never want to hear from you again. And I blocked him, right?
Yes.
3 years ago.
Yes.
Last week,
Love that.
he sends me a DM on WhatsApp because he knows I blocked him, right? So he's like, maybe WhatsApp. And I got the notification and my heart literally sank, but not in a scared way, in a like the audacity
Yes.
way. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Like I was like,
I can't use her phone number, so I'm gonna just use a different platform because I still don't have that inbox.
Like, oh my God. And this actually with the last boyfriend that I was just talking about, he actually tried to reach out to me through my best friend by DMing her on Twitter. And like when she sent me that screenshot, my heart dropped in the same way, but again, not in a scared way, not in like a this is so like heart-wrenching way. Like literally, I was like, the audacity, like you are blocked for a reason. Like I don't want there's no good excuse. Like unless you're fucking dying and I'm the only one who can take you to the hospital, which even in that case, I would hesitate after everything you put me through. So yeah, when this guy like messaged me on WhatsApp, I was like, what the audacity? And I have my WhatsApp setting so that you can't see like the preview. You have to open up the app. And so I opened up the app, and as I was telling you guys before we were recording, I thought that it would be something like sorry, or like, hey, can we talk, or like I regret what I did to you. No, it's just a joke. Literally just a joke. I haven't opened it because I don't want him to like see that I read it,
Yes.
But I was reading it to you guys earlier. The joke is, what's the difference between a lobster with breast implants and a dirty bus station? Do either of you guys know the answer?
No.
Let me see.
Okay, me neither.
No, but are you looking it up, Andrew?
Yeah, I'm looking it up. Okay, I found it on Reddit.
You found it?
One's a crusty bus station and the other is a busty crustacean.
Oh my God.
No, that would have gotten him blocked again.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Because like look, but like you got blocked last time because you tried to pressure me into doing something I didn't want to, and now you're coming up to me talking about voluptuous crabs.
Yes.
Voluptuous
that just
crab.
feels inappropriate.
Read the room, dude.
Read the room. Oh
Read
my
the
God.
room. I also think it's very funny. Like he must have seen that joke on Reddit. Like he saw that joke on the internet and was like, "Oh, this will be the ticket. This is how I'm gonna get back to Abby."
You know who would love this joke? That girl that blocked me 3 years ago after I tried to pressure her into having sex with me.
Yeah, she does.
These men.
She'll love this.
Yeah. There's been a surplus of audacity this year, I feel like, because like these two I told you reached out to me, they're not even the only two. They're like two of like 5 people who've tried to reach out to me, and I was like, where the fuck are all of these guys coming from? Like I just need to know.
Right. Like why? I feel like it's been a chaotic moment in time, but that doesn't mean you should ruin the lives of women who've told you that they're not interested. Like, even though it's chaos, just stop. Just go to bed. I just
can't even like process it. Like, to my knowledge, I've never been blocked by a guy, because I don't think I've ever pushed the boundary in that sense. Like, I don't think I've ever like made someone so uncomfortable that they were like, okay, I need to block this girl. I just like can't understand the thought process of like being like, oh, I was blocked. And instead of being embarrassed and ashamed by it, being like, maybe I should follow up on this different platform. Maybe I should reach out through her best friend. Like that is some psycho thinking. Like
It really is. Just not taking no for an answer. Just being like,
cut
oh,
your fucking losses. Yeah.
yeah, you're not getting a dub. So get out. Take the L.
Yeah,
As
truly.
they say on the internet.
As they say as the young ones say on the internet.
They take the L, people. And I just,
do you guys have any, sorry, what?
No, just like, I do want to say though, Abby, I think you have demonstrated in your receipts that you are very good at setting boundaries for yourself and also being very eloquent and strong. Like you're not giving in to any bullshit. And I love that for you. I love that.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. This is so much fun. I was going to ask, do you guys have any examples of people like following up or trying to contact you after you've blocked them?
Well, I spent a lot of time thinking while you were telling that story, being on the other side of the, like, being the person that's pursuing you in that scenario. But it was different because it was a friend that I brought it up like almost like a year ago now, Jenny, the friend of mine from college that just like completely fell off the face of the earth with me. And I did like, it was right at the beginning of quarantine where I was just like, hey, I would like to connect in some fashion. I live alone. I would like to talk to people that I'm friendly with and everything. And I was quickly realizing more and more texts that I put out that was just like not receiving a response. And so I was reaching out on different platforms. And I really should have given up, but it was just obviously like in a bad place with March and everything. So I was reaching out and I reached out to one of her friends that I've met through her. And I was like, hey, where is she? You know? And she's like, oh, well, I was just talking to her today. I'll remind her. And like, then I'm like, now I'm like following up with her friend and everything. And like, I feel insane, but it's like, okay, nothing has even happened. So I don't even understand why you're not responding to these like nice text messages where I'm just like, hey, just thinking of you, would love to catch up, which like quickly transferred. Go ahead.
I don't think that's the same. I don't think that's the same at all. Like I have definitely followed up with friends that I've like fallen out with or just like haven't talked to. And I think that following up on different platforms with someone that you've kind of like, what am I trying to say? Gone astray from, that's not the word I'm looking for. Estranged, like someone who's estranged. Like I don't think following up with someone who's estranged is the same as like someone who's like specifically told you they don't want you in their life anymore. Right. It sounds like this friend and you just like fell apart. Like it's not like you guys had like a messy ending or anything and you were breaking any boundaries. But I think it's like, so yeah, what I'm trying to say is like you don't have to worry about it.
I mean, like I think you do have to be crafty if it's someone who is being a poor communicator with you, because she's never expressed that she doesn't want to be your friend outright. She's never
she's just not communicating anything. And so it did get to the point where, you know, I've sent a number of messages and everything that she did block me on everything. So it's just like it like weighs on my mind, you know, every so often where I'm like, okay, what actually even happened? I understand that maybe I wasn't taking the best route by like continuously reaching out, but I don't think that it was like unwarranted, because it wasn't as if we had like a big blow up or anything. I was just genuinely confused and concerned. And so I have no means of getting in contact with her. And it's like, that sucks, because it's like one of my best friends from college and I have no reason to believe that anything even happened between us. And
that's a mystery.
It's like, it's so mysterious, so frustrating. I hear like, I just like heard from another friend that she just got engaged a few months ago. I'm like, she's clearly communicating with people, you know?
Well, so if it makes you feel better, that actually happened to me after I got out of a relationship, a really bad relationship in sophomore year of college. Like I just like really needed friends, and it seemed like I had no one to turn to. Like so many of my friends like unfollowed and blocked me. And then it turns out that my roommate at the time, who I feel like I just attract like the weirdest people in my life, like the most insane people. My roommate at the time, who was my best friend at the time, also apparently like she ended up dropping out because of bad grades. She tells everyone it was because she had a heart attack. She was a very pathological liar. Side tangent. She told me that she had a friend who died on the operating table from stage 5 lung cancer. I didn't have the heart to tell her that there's no such thing as stage 5 lung cancer, or the fact that that's not how cancer works. And this was like one of like a slew of lies she was just like always saying. Anyway, she was my best friend at the time. And after she dropped out, like eventually one estranged friend reached out and was like, hey, it's been a while. Do you want to come to this like throwback I'm hosting at my apartment this Saturday night? And I was like, yeah. So I went and I was just like almost on the verge of tears from happiness. Like it was just so nice to see him and his girlfriend and all these friends I hadn't talked to in a while. And I was like, hey, like, I just feel like I haven't heard from you in forever. And he was like, yeah, dude, like last year, your roommate told us, I'm trying so hard not to say names because I know that's how you get clocked. But like, last year, your roommate told us, like went up to a bunch of us and told us that you hated us. Like she said that you were always talking about how terrible we were and like how you don't like any of us and how annoying we were. And, I was like, that's weird. Like I thought Abby and I were good friends, but I guess if she doesn't like me, I'm going to leave her alone. And then he was like, now it's been a year. Like I haven't heard from you in a while. I figured like I would just like reach out to you and see if you still felt the same way. And I was like, I never felt that way. And it turns out she had done that with a number of friends. And this particular friend is like super chillax, like anti-drama, just the most like coolest person ever. So I was very lucky in the sense that like he was like, even if this was true, even if you said this shit, like I'm willing to put it behind me. But there were a number of people who actually very much like did block me, did cut me off. They were like, and I don't blame them, if like someone that I was really close friends with, I found out was talking like major shit behind my back, I'd be like, that's fucked. Like, let me cut them off. So I don't blame them, but it was a very painful way to lose friends. And so there's some relationships that end and there's no rhyme or reason for them ending, but it's just a part of life is what I had to accept, otherwise I would have driven myself crazy.
Yeah, totally.
So,
and
I hope that's applicable to you too.
No, I think what it says though is like something was going on that's like we can't explain. Something is going on that we can't explain that I doesn't necessarily have to do with you, Andrew. Like I think it doesn't necessarily have to do with anything that you said or did, but there's something that's just a mystery that's going on, and it says more about her than it does about you. Is what I'm getting from this. But it's so hard because it's like it really doesn't feel good when you're like, why does this friend not want to be my friend anymore? It just feels bad. That feels bad. And like, I'm happy, Abby, not that you had a roommate who was wild or that all of these wild people come into your life. I feel like you need to sage just yourself. You just need to save yourself, Abby.
Truly. I think so.
People. I'm not happy about that, but I'm happy that you got some closure and that you found out why. Like it's nice that you found out why. So it sucks, Andrew, that we don't know why.
No, but I'm glad that you brought that up because it's like it's nice to know, because I feel like the mutual friends that we've had that I reach out to and I'm like, this crazy thing is happening with her. They don't have that shared experience. So it's like, it's nice to hear from you that you have a similar experience, and it is like fully out of my control. And it's like, okay, this is just like life at this point. I can't really do anything. I literally can't do anything because I'm blocked, but
I mean, you can send her a joke on whatever platform.
What's the difference between?
You can try if she has like a Poshmark or a Depop or something. You can send her a joke on that.
Yeah, I'll try that. That was a great joke, and I think
really good.
It might have not worked for you, but I think it might work for her.
Let me know.
Yeah.
So I think to close out, what's been a really lovely episode of the pod, maybe we'll just play one quick little game.
Yes, I have time.
How do I feel?
Yeah.
Okay. It's just silly. It's called Quick and Dirty. I'm going to ask you 4 questions very quickly, and then you will give your response. Okay. Are you ready, Abby? Yes. Okay. First question. Your favorite flirty emoji?
Oh, the simp emoji.
Okay. What is that?
No, you know what I'm talking about. You 100% know what I'm talking about. The one with the glossy eyes.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Split the check on a first date.
No. I mean, so my thing is I will split the check on a first date and I'll always offer to pay for half. But in most cases, I found that like the best interactions I've had with men are the ones who are like, let me pay for let's take turns paying. Like I would much prefer taking turns to pay than splitting, because I think taking turns is like much more intimate, whereas like splitting just feels like it's like purely financial. You know what I'm saying?
I do know what you're saying. Yeah, it's like, it's nice.
Yeah.
Like, I get this one, you get the next one. Like, I'll spot you.
Yeah, exactly. It's like trust, you know?
Yeah. It's nice. Okay. Favorite opening line on a dating app?
I'm never the one who messages first. I'm too pretty.
Okay.
Wait.
No, that's good. That's an answer.
Yeah, that's an answer. Okay.
Okay. And last question, which I feel like I know the answer to. Getting back with an ex, yes or no?
No.
No.
No. Oh boy.
Anything but hell no, I would be worried, Abby.
No.
Actually, yeah. End of episode.
I mean, like, yeah. I mean, like, I've dated a lot of guys. Maybe like 2 or 3 of them turned out to actually be good people, but like the reason it ended, like there was a reason that it ended, you know, and so I can't foresee that reason changing by any means. So no, absolutely not.
No, absolutely not. Abby, it's been so much fun to have you on the podcast. How does everyone who's listening follow you?
Oh yeah, so on Twitter I'm Abby Gov, ABBYGOV. On Instagram I'm Abby Govindan, ABBYGOVINDAN. I also have a YouTube channel, a website if you're into newsletters. I have my web series coming out on Rizzle soon. In the process of selling a podcast with a very hilarious comedian, Dana Donnelly, who I believe has been on this podcast.
Obsessed with Dana. Dana's been on the pod.
She's great. So the premise of our podcast actually is that men come on our podcast and pitch us their podcast idea, and we tell them it's stupid. The joke is that like there are too many podcasts by men, and so like we're talking men out of making podcasts. We're in the process of selling that.
That's the Lord's work, Abby, actually. Yeah.
Thank you. No, that's what Dana and I say we're civil serving that, honestly.
You are.
Yeah. And what else? I have a TED Talk coming out soon
Very cool.
with Wesleyan University. So like all these things are on my social media all the time. So if anyone who's listening would like to follow me on socials, I just always keep my followers updated about cool stuff like that.
They got to follow you. They got to follow you. They're going to miss out on so much. They must. And anyone listening, if you need dating advice, DM us at ReceiptsPod. We don't always have the best advice, but we do have opinions and we want to help you.
And that's all that matters.
We've got opinions, and we still have a referral program. So if you're listening to the pod and you love it, you can go to receiptspod.com and you can share the podcast with your friends and win prizes, including a panel of comedians fixing your dating app profiles, which is truly the best prize of all time. I know, incredible.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, really good. Everyone needs the help. So refer your friends. Thank you guys. It's Receipts.